Perfect. He's here. Then we will come to our next speaker. She will talk about the hype to action using the big data test infrastructure. She comes from the European Commission. She's the team leader, and her name is Maria Claudia Bodino. Welcome.
Thank you. I have some supporter in the audience.
You can click if you want.
Click this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, hi everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. Also, thanks for the previous presentation. Very inspiring. So today I would like to share with you a very interesting initiative, even more if you are working for a public administration, maybe at regional or local level, maybe a municipality or a region, because in the context of the Digital Europe program, you know, data is everywhere, but focusing on public sector, we are producing tons of information. We have citizen sharing and also creating a lot of value with our public administration. At the same time, if you think about the transportation sector, the environmental sector, we have a huge amount of data that are in silos, and they are not very, let's say, used to create knowledge. So in this context, there is this new initiative, is the Big Data Test Infrastructure from the European Digital Europe program. That's basically a data science playground. It's free, it's in the cloud, and you can apply for it for the duration of 6 months. Don't be, you know, the name big data is a bit misleading, so even if you don't have big data, that's fine. You can also just crunch a bunch of CSV, PDF, that's totally fine. But the main goal is really to help you in moving forward with data skills. Nowadays, everybody is so excited about AI, you know, and I'm a bit skeptical because people sometimes are discussing about AI, but they don't know that behind AI, you need to have good data, reliable data that are interoperable, and also good quality in terms of representative data set. So that's exactly the goal of this project, to give you an infrastructure that you can use for free to leverage the information you are creating in your public administration. Try to check also the different requirements, for example, from the European Open Data Directive, where the European Union is pushing to have high-value data set, for example, business registry, mobility data, and try to create this data using APIs that are interoperable. So having in mind the Interoperable Europe Act, that's something very important for you if you're working for a public administration. And that's exactly where you can experiment. So try to assess the quality of your data set, try to connect the dots, and try to create something out of that. This is just an informative slide. We have the Digital Europe program, and we are under the artificial intelligence building block. So together with all the other interesting topics, you know, basically, the idea is to give you a free infrastructure in the cloud, completely open source, where you can experiment and advance in data skills. I don't know if you are a bit technical, but in this slide, you can see very popular tools. All of them are open source. And if you are working in the, let's say, data field, data domain, you know that usually when you want to do something with data, it's like cooking, okay? Like cooking a pizza, you need to have very good ingredients and you need to have very good tools. So basically it's a combination of tools and ingredients. Tools is what we are offering you, and ingredients is what you need to share. So ingredients could be data from citizen, anonymized, data from, I don't know, the weather IoT station you have around in your city. And basically this is the very common data journey steps that you will go through one by one. You will start collecting information, and in this, at this stage we are offering more than 6 tools. All of them are very famous. Then probably you need to process your information. You need to assess the quality of the information. You need to check if they are interoperable, you know, not just high level, but you need to check if they are semantically interoperable, if they can speak each other also technically. And that's where we are providing different tools. Then probably you spent already 80% of your time. You start the fun part. It's about analyzing and visualizing data. And in this context, we are giving you different tools also for geodata and for specifically for assessing information in the context of urban data analytics and the smart cities. That's where you have QGIS, NIME Analytics, Jupyter Notebooks, R, and then you have Metabase, Superset, and Apache Airflow to orchestrate everything together. Oops, sorry. This is just a snapshot of one of the demonstrators we created with Dublin. Basically, we were collecting data from the weather stations in the city, traffic data, and also public lighting consumptions. And the main goal was to reduce the money Dublin was spending for public lighting. So we were assessing the usage of public lighting in the different neighborhoods. And we tried to understand, creating machine learning models, how this was correlated with data from the weather and data from the traffic. So we create different scenarios, and based on these scenarios that you can select, you can easily understand and show to your policymakers how using data is very useful to improve policies. It's a very simple use case that you can find in our website. All of them, all of the tools you have available in this cloud infrastructure, they are completely open source. Why? Of course, we don't want to push for any lock-in, and also because we are very convinced that open source is a key fundamental aspect in the public sector for sustainability reason, but even more for a collaborative dimension. You can exchange, your knowledge and also your improvement. You can contribute to developing tools that are not at all proprietary. Who is BDTI, so the Big Data Test Infrastructure for? Public administration, I would say specifically the ones that don't have already big technologies in-house. Local, regional, national level, it doesn't matter. We always try to foster partnership with academia, spin-off, and startups. Why? I was working for many years in the private sector, and then I switched to the public sector. And it's very difficult to find people like data engineers, data scientists working for the public sector. And sometimes you can find data enthusiastic people, for example, from academia. They are doing their PhD, they are doing their master thesis, and it's a perfect match if they can decide, to develop something with you for your public administration for public good. For me, that's it's wonderful win-win. Why you should apply for this project? Again, it's free of charge, 6 months, then we can discuss maybe for a longer timeline. You can experiment with top tools that are in the market for data analytics and AI. And after the 6 months, you are going to have an exit package. So basically, all the code that you develop will be, let's say, exchanged. Also, you can reuse and move maybe forward. The idea is not to have just a pilot, not at all. Also, we would like to, to not just sharing an infrastructure with you, but on a monthly basis, we are going to share with you the cost report and the amount of money you have spent virtually in the cloud infrastructure. So you can also try to plan your budget in case you want to build and also to create the same infrastructure. But even more, you are getting familiar with cloud infrastructure, what this means, which are the costs, which are the different needs, because most of the time people don't know. People work in the public sector, they just give big contracts to big private companies, but they really don't understand what's happening there. So let's move to something more concrete. In these slides and also in our website, you can see many pilots that are currently running or that we already conclude. In this slide, you have some pilots from Spain and from Italy, very diverse. The first one is basically about text mining. So the Generalitat Valenciana was crunching a huge amount of papers from academia during COVID to do some text analytics on top of it. And they were using this infrastructure from the Commission. Then there was this data sharing platform, an amazing pilot that now is a production environment, where member states were sharing data about plasma transfer during COVID. So at that time, we were thinking that plasma was a good solution for COVID, and all this information were collected and shared in this platform, that now it's in production. Then we had Florence. Florence was doing predictive analytics and time series analysis, try to understand the impact of lockdown in Italy, and specifically in Florence, in the city, checking Wi-Fi, IoT sensor, parking spots. All of this was injected in the platform and then analyzed. Then another very interesting cross-border pilot was between Italy, Portugal, and Norway on the topic of e-procurement. By the way, we also publish a paper here. And the idea was to analyze the different procurement bits and all the amount of information we have, open data from the different countries, and try to make some data quality assessment. Then we have another interesting project from I think, University of Macedonia, together with CRNET. And in this case, we won a prize of this. On this use case, they are using the Mythos API to inject all the data that are in tabular format, like CSV, from the different national public services in Greece. And they move this data in CSV to linked data. So it's a way of transforming data in a semantic and more interoperable format to assess the quality, but also to give back APIs for services and for citizens. Then we have a small city in Germany, Bochum, maybe you know them. They are doing a very interesting use case. They have sensor on the trees around the city, and they are collecting IoT data to test and to check basically the health of trees in the city. And also, they want to predict the tree health in the city. They are trying to create a machine learning model on top of it, and they are connecting data from trees, but also from traffic and air sensors. Turku, Finland. Another example about mobility. They don't have in-house data science and AI infrastructure. They apply for the big data test infrastructure, and now they are trying to do predictive and descriptive analytics for urban mobility. So where we should create a new metro station, where we should create a new, maybe, parking slot. Naples is another interesting pilot, again about mobility. Mobility is a huge topic, you know better than me. And they are using the big data test infrastructure to analyze the traffic data set, having in mind the Open Data Directive. So how to apply? Very, very easy, very, very light process. Go to our website, check our use case, also what we are offering, our service offering. There is a very high-level template where you need to describe your use case. Then you can submit this use case in a couple of weeks maximum. We are going to review the use case and we come back to you. Usually we set up a meeting, and when we approve this, all the time we approve, no problem. The only condition is that you need to use open data, not at all personal data. In a couple of weeks, you are going to have your environment ready, and you can start having fun and create your analytics project. Some advertisement. We have an amazing newsletter. It's called Baking Data Newsletter, so feel free to subscribe. And we have a really interesting series of webinars, hands-on webinars. Today at 5, there is one on analyzing data from Barcelona and try to predict urban mobility. It's going to be very, very, I would say, basic but interesting. And we're going to use Python together with other tools like Apache, Airflow, and Jupyter Notebooks. We have other 2 workshops in the pipeline. One is about tourism, climate prediction, and the last one is about bicycling and bike sharing. So how to forecast and monitor by sharing in a city. And I think we're going to use Madrid's data, if I remember well. Just check our website. These are our information. Don't hesitate. Get in touch with us. And yeah, thanks a lot for your attention. Thank you.
Right.
Maybe we go back there.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We
Any
have-
questions?
We actually have 3 minutes left.
Yeah, I try to
so
speed up because...
perfect. Is there any questions for Maria?
Are you working for the public administration, small one? In Germany? Do you have a infrastructure to do data analytics? Please apply.
All right. If there's no questions, I would say we move on. Thank you.